There's a voice, keeps on calling me. Down the road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll try and settle down.
It's not in my key. I can't do it.
Welcome to the Russel Brand and Matt Morgan show.
Wasn't a sitcom, doesn't count.
Matt's not cooperating with a simple item where we sing the Littlest Hobo theme tune. He's got to keep moving on. He's like the Hulk before him. He's a peripatetic.
I knew that I was
Wanderer.
dead when you tried to actually sing very well on it.
Piss off! Shit off! F the bed!
Glad you didn't slip into your Beatles voice.
Wait a second, because now here comes the Beatles voice, if not a Beatles track, because we won't be able to afford it. When I'm singing in my little whiny voice, the world...
The raindrops on
Actually,
what was that when
I
I'm
was
64?
ahead of my time, because now every advert on the telly is sung in that voice, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is!
No, they do.
Matt, come on!
No, they
every
do indie.
advert.
They do soft indie versions.
And
of
how does the
songs.
voice sound?
They
Like
do
my
not
soft voice?
Sing like a creepy, tiny little vampire hovering around his lonely palace. That is not the version.
Yes, it is! And actually, I'm not that!
If you're wondering what we're talking about, Google. Go on YouTube because it must be on there.
Get on there right now!
Russell singing When I'm 64 by the Beatles.
Because we can't sing it because we simply can't afford it. But what I can do
by
the top
sound
of
of
voice.
John Lennon spinning in a grave.
Why would he care? Was he involved? That's a Paul McCartney song. He's spinning in the planet like the rest of us, rotating around the world. And this is Russell and Matt at audioboom.com. If you want to talk to us in the form of an email, I've thrown the address away. Matt, can you see it anywhere? It's probably on the ground somewhere. Russell and Matt at audioboom. Sounds right, doesn't it? Send us an email to there because some people have done that already and they're going to have this experience, the experience of me reading out an email. Imagine that. What a joy. Then later in the show, Mr. G has summarised all this. I was thinking of people we could ring. We could try and ring Noel Gallagher. I could try and ring Paloma Faith. I could try and ring anyone.
Why are you dropping her into the mix?
Why not? What do you mean?
friends
Do you
with
think
her?
I'm trying to? Do you think I'm trying it on? What about Tiny Temper? Think I'm trying it on with Tiny Temper? Of course I'm not.
You're appearing to seem like you're trying to be down with the kids.
I'm down with them. I'm down with the kids. If it's Tiny Temper, if you think I can't get Tiny?
He's going for his phone.
I can get Temper. I can get him. Hello, Tiny Temper. Is that you, son? Right, okay. But first, an email, as promised, by Davey of York. Thrilled to discover there's someone else who feels the same as I do about mismatched scaling and lack of articulation in kids' toys. We were talking about that on our last show, or last but one. My Ghostbusters figures had to sit in Ecto 1, their vehicle, with their legs stretched out rigid because they wouldn't bend at the knees. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I used to hate that.
It was absolute disgrace.
Can you imagine sitting in a car with your legs out straight? How stupid
What's
you'd
the
look.
point? If there's an accident, your knees will buckle and snap.
Oh,
Awful business. And Batman and Robin, that I had as a boy, permanently sedentary. Permanently sedentary. Couldn't stretch them out right. They were only tiny little guys, the seated position.
and He-Man toys had hard bodies and rubbery little heads.
Also, they had
could swap the heads.
They had rubbery ligament. If you pulled their
yeah.
limbs long, there was that black rubber ligament within.
Just an elastic band inside.
What was He-Man made of? Lies, it turned out. It turned out that actually it was a careful... Do you know that was a clever market? And they just released those toys in the cartoon at the same time. They ripped us off.
Yeah, they did didn't they do the cartoon just to sell the toys?
They did exactly that, man.
And then they started adding He-Man and She-Ra ended with a sort of, hey, like sort of like, don't
Try to
bully people.
give us
like
a message.
Yeah.
If you're worried about racism, don't be. Buy this toy.
Yeah.
It was a trick. The whole thing was a trick. Might not have been in this episode, but if Matt needs help with his Lego construction, says Wicked Wood, he can have it. And then there's ways of building Lego tables, Matt, that I can only assume are better than yours because these ones look proper, whereas yours was by a stained carpet.
I don't want to claim that I built it. I bought a table on eBay second hand and I painted it up. I
Matthew,
glued Lego
every
boards
week,
to it. I don't want people to think I'm a carpenter.
Week in, week out, you've been saying, I'm building a Lego table. I'm possibly the new Jesus. Things like that. And then it comes to the crunch. All you've done is sloshed some paint on a Lego table.
And glue. No, look, I'm going to share a picture of it and people will go, oh, yeah.
Well, so you've got to have to go into another medium to justify your actions. You can't do this with audio medium.
Well, no, Lego... imagine I was building an actual table from wood. It'd take me forever. Who builds
I
stuff
admire
anymore?
the builders of the world, the carpenters, the plumbers. I admire them all. Because we, people who do this for a living, what is it? It's fuck all.
Yeah.
That's my views. Chris, Currently sitting in my local council offices, drawing stares as I laugh uncontrollably at the audio clip of a very important man farting in episode 6 of the Ark documentary. The situation I'm in is making it even funnier, and tears of laughter are beginning to run down my face, which is only making the general public even more uncomfortable. So yeah, thanks for that, says Chris with a K. Talking about when we watched, we talked about the documentary by Molly Deneen, The Ark, about a zoo. It was made in the early 90s, looked like it was made in the 70s, had a very good character in it, a manager at the zoo who spoke of his own daughter, Serafina, as a potential world-changing kid, and his son as a lacklustre middle management type.
So he wasn't the one who farted, though?
No, that was a different character, actually, altogether, that farted, and so that's what Matt was drawn to, but I, of course,
that's all
looked
I
for
took
subtext. That's what Matt learned. I learned a hell of a lot about socioeconomics, the zoology, a lot. Well, anyway, this Serafina girl that he was talking about has been like, I wanted to know if this guy who talked about his daughter, because he was how this character became important was because he was talking about running the zoo in such brutal terms, didn't care about the relationship between the keepers and the animals. All he cared about was making things efficient. And the documentary
I think he spoke like that, and he was a bit more clipped.
Take an animal. Pull its legs off. It was yeah, that's right. He was
Chris
brutal. Yeah, like we thought he had inspired that Chris Morris character in an episode of Brass Eye once. But the documentary maker was so struck by his coldness towards his staff. She said, "Is that how you deal with your children?" He went, "Yes, certainly. Well, Serafina is coming on. You do his voice. You're better at him."
Well, Serafina, my daughter, he goes, my son, he won't come to anything. He'll just be a middle manager. But my daughter Serafina was selling pine cones to visitors.
She made £40. Yeah, so he's proud of his entrepreneurial kid.
We found Serafina.
She's been tracked down by Tom. I know the Serafina you speak of. She goes out of my mate Gav. He tells of her father being every bit as draconian as you alluded to. Even though everyone calls my mate Gav, his name is Chris Gavin. Her old man refuses, always calling him Christopher. What does it say on your birth certificate? It says Christopher. So I'll call you Christopher. Christopher,
stop. I won't enter into this silly game.
You might find it fun, Christopher, to live a double life, but when you're with my daughter, Serafina, I imagine you stimulate to orgasm on occasion. I will be calling you the name of the Lord.
When my friend, I was talking to this girl that he liked, he went up behind her, in all seriousness, because she told me this later, and whispered in her ear, "Don't play his little games."
Don't play his silly little games.
I love that, though. He wasn't joking.
Don't play his little games.
Don't play his little games.
He thought the situation was loaded with espionage.
It's so funny. I don't speak to him anymore.
No, of course. What little games were you playing?
I was just talking to a girl that he liked, right? And I didn't even notice that
is a little game.
It wasn't a little... Oh, look who's talking. The amount of women you've nicked off me.
Off of how many in total, and which one do you mean... do I need to apologise for this?
No, you don't.
There was one in a cab, wasn't there?
There was one or I don't know.
12.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't have done that.
No, you didn't do anything wrong, don't worry.
I was on drugs, was I?
No.
No. I'm sorry about that. That was sexist and wrong of me.
No, it was. I'm only joking. You actually, you know.
I probably saved you from yourself, did I?
I got it. You did me a huge kindness there.
I did you a kindness, Matthew. I was thinking only of you.
If you say to Russell, like, "God, I fancy that girl," he goes, "Do you? Maybe I will too, then."
Fancy? Girl, you say?
Yes.
So, well, hold on a minute. Then I'd be you.
I actually love her now.
So it's best just not to say it.
Don't say it.
Just keep quiet. Does everyone notice this? Is this another one of my problems?
She's saying yes.
Standard trade rule now.
Don't mention it to him. Because I'm like...
Actually go the other way and go, "She's ugly. Look at
Isn't
that
she?
deformed little face.
What a monster! Hit her with a badminton racket! Drive her from the property, I say!" So, oh dear, that's a problem. It'll be best off when I'm married and settled, won't it?
Yes.
Come on, let's get me married and settled. For God's sake, stop all this nonsense. I was hoping to marry Serafina, but she's with this guy Gav now. He also always grills him, the dad, the draconian dad mentioned in Tom's email about where Serafina's wound up. He also grills him about his career in recruitment, asking how many candidates he's placed this week, etc.
Really?
How many candidates have you placed this week,
Christopher? What's he doing now, do you think, the dad? He's not running a zoo.
I'd like to talk to him.
I'd love to.
I'd like to know him. Moreover, her little unnamed brother is now a CEO, and Serafina, don't read this bit out, works in Boots. Something wrong with working in boots. Nothing wrong with that. Matt's mum was an Avon lady. My mum sold clothes at clothes pies. We're not laughing at
My
people.
mum's not an Avon lady now.
She's still an Avon lady, so there's no point laughing about Sue Morgan. Ding dong. Because what we're saying is, but it's funny
So
that
the
he's a
son
CEO.
Oh, get out.
Amazing. He turned it round, the lad.
We've got to meet that. We want the. You know, you were saying you want to give your life over to make someone else.
Yes.
Let them make your decisions.
Yes, who?
Give them to the dad.
That dad, you're in charge of me now.
That's nonsense. You'll get up at 9 o'clock. You'll go and open your cafe. It'll be really good for you.
I don't like it.
Why?
Because I'm being bossed around, and I like to get up when I choose.
No, he's just telling you, like, you tell him what you want to do, and then he orders your
instructs
time.
it. So he's just the voice of my conscience. He's like a moody, bolshy, bossy Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
He's a clipped Jiminy Cricket. He's
That's
Jiminy
it.
Clip It.
Yeah. Give him
All right.
6 months and see if your career's
Life is
ruined and you're in
improved.
prison. And then you know that it didn't work.
Do you think we should be doing more social experiments like this, Matt? Handing our lives over to perfect strangers to run on our behalf to see what will happen?
I think you should.
I could give it a try, couldn't I? It couldn't hurt,
It's
could
one
it?
of those things that might work. You could write a book about it.
I handed my life over to a man that I once saw in a documentary. Russell, that's published on the Brixton Prison's printing press. Yeah, okay, well, we could try it. And I've got a new game I'd like to try out, Matt. Famous people. You think they're famous, don't you? Well, are they, though? Because imagine this. A friend of mine told me that Orlando Bloom turned up at her door, and I said, I've seen Orlando Bloom once in the flesh. A yoga lesson in America. And I don't know that if Orlando Bloom came to my door, I'd go, bloody hell, that's Orlando Bloom. Because how I recognise Orlando Bloom is he's got that long blonde hair when he's Legolas out of Lord of the Rings. So if he just turns up as normal Orlando Bloom, I don't reckon I'd recognise him. Then I start thinking about it. How famous is anyone really when it comes to the crunch? Like, what famous people... Say, for example, all right, try this. Try some of these examples out. Boris Johnson, you'd recognise him if he came to your door, wouldn't you?
Yes.
But George Osborne, if he came to your door, just
Yes,
knocked on your door,
I would.
what if he's wearing...
If he's not wearing the suit...
He's not wearing the suit, he's wearing a British gas uniform.
No, I just think...
So you wouldn't know it's George Osborne, would you?
I don't know, but I know what you're saying.
But you don't actually know what he looks like. What about the film star, Ryan Reynolds? Probably gets 10 million a movie. If Ryan Reynolds knocked on your door and said, I'm from Rent-A-Kill, you wouldn't go, no, you're not, you're Ryan Reynolds out of that film with Sandra Bullock, would you?
Have you been failed to be recognised? You seem quite passionate
I am
about this.
sick of this SHIT! I am Aldous Snow from those films. And I'm Arthur from that film. So will you please recognise me when I come in a British gas uniform to your sixth form college and demand 5 female volunteers to get in the fucking van!
How did talking about being
No, but come on,
recognised?
don't you think the game's good?
Yes, it's a good game. I just want to ask you one question.
All right.
When we walked here to this studio through the normal streets of London, right, you were recognised by a group of little children,
Yep.
loads of people, but you had a thing round your head, right?
Yep.
Is there a level?
Headscarf.
Is there a level of disguise? And I know you did once.
This isn't
go
a
out in
disguise.
No, I know, but is there a level of disguise that you could adopt where no one would recognise you? Because I once sent you a link to those rubber masks that look really human.
Yeah, but you've got to
and
have
real.
a rubber mask on your face. How can you
No,
enjoy,
but
say,
if
a
you-
trip to the zoo in a rubber mask?
No, I mean, like, if you
Or
ever wanted
anything.
to just go out and sort of be not famous for a
Yeah, but
while.
you're wearing a rubber mask. I mean, being famous is a pain in the arse sometimes, but wearing a rubber mask, your skin can't breathe.
What?
Your skin can't breathe.
No, but if you
I said, Matthew, your skin can't breathe. And I say it again.
no, but like as an experiment, you're talking about social experiments.
Look, I'm pretending to listen, but I'm angry with you
Why?
for not getting on
Because
board
the
with my
idea of
fame
not-
item.
I'm going to go back to that, but what I'm saying
you
is,
promised me,
if I was
as a
famous,
100%
I'd
pledge.
have anxiety every time I left the house.
Yeah, but
right?
that's why you're not designed for it. I'm designed for it.
Yeah, I know you're designed for it, but wouldn't you like one day to have a little holiday from it with a
Nope.
rubber face?
I don't want a rubber face. Look, when
They're very well
you know,
made.
don't you? I was married to the pop star Katy Perry.
I've heard a rumour.
Right. Well, when that was going on, we used to dress up to go out and about.
Yes.
As Ike and Tina Turner. Now,
No, what was
there
that?
were
You did used
racist
to-
undertones to the costume.
What was that? You did do that, didn't
We
you?
used to dress up, spectacles and stuff like that. Yeah.
But was it like really trying to disguise yourself?
No, yeah, 'cause
hey
obviously-
guys, who's over here?
Wait a second.
Oh no, my disguise has fallen off.
I kissed a me and I liked it. Ballbag Dinkle. If it isn't some of the best known people. No, like because then when you've got girlfriends, you really do want to be unrecognisable. You do want to be normal. You crave being able to just drift around and be your normal self, don't you?
Yeah, we'll get a rubber mask and you
I'm
can do
not
it.
going around in a rubber-
Do you know what I think?
How dare you point?
I will point. I think you wouldn't do that because you'd think,
This is boring.
am I really then?
I'm just a rubber mask guy. Oh, rubber face.
I could just see you on some, like on the bridge in London, pulling it off and going, "Ta-da! It's me! All along, it was me, guys."
You see? Stop the traffic! Stop everything! It's me, King Russ, your new mayor! Shut down London!
I'd do it. Those masks are they're amazing. They move with your face. I'm going to put
It's
a
going
link
to
up.
suffocate the skin! You'll get
You don't have to
eczema!
live in it
no!
for a year. You just go out, go
What's
to
the
the
point?
London
How
Eye
can
in
I
it.
have a lovely time on the London Eye, viewing London by night? A twinkling landscape if I've got a rubber mask on. Who do I look like anyway in this rubber mask?
Well, one of them, like, they're sort
Travolta.
of like, well, you can get them like,
Lenin?
personalised. You could choose your eyebrow colour.
Why don't I be just like a lady then? And then I could wear like a bra, lady
That's
mask.
a different thing. But, I'm not against that. You're very
When I
tall
think
for a
about
lady.
it, I touch myself.
You're very tall for a lady, I would say.
Not for a tall one. I'm the perfect height for her.
Yeah, go on then. So famous
Fame
people.
game,
Right.
fame game.
Right.
Ding dong. Who's that knocking
Well,
on your
depends
door?
who you like.
Hold on,
I
I'm trying
wouldn't-
to.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
trying to build the item.
Go on, build
Ding
it.
dong. Fame game. Fame game. Who's that knocking on your door? Would you actually recognise a famous person? Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock.
Yes, I would.
Would
because
you?
She's got a funny nose.
All right, but she's carrying a mop.
I just think, well, yeah, I
Sandra
would.
Bullock with a mop.
Just go to Sandra Bullock with a mop.
Let me talk
it's
you through a few.
unlikely, but
Because I don't think you would. I don't think I'd recognise Bullock.
yeah, but you've got a skewed view of things because you know famous people. You've been around famous people, so it wouldn't be that weird if Sandra Bullock came to your door.
I wouldn't recognise her, but because don't you often, like, there's someone you can sort of think they're a bit famous. That's why famous people are always mistaken for other famous people, because you don't really know what they look like. You don't really know.
There is a thing when you meet someone famous and you think, oh, you're much shorter than I thought, and you're, like they look because they're not made up like they are on telly.
Yeah.
So there is a thing where you go, is that someone like they
Actually-
can walk around? But like even the addition of a beanie on a newsreader would completely
A
change
beanie
them.
on a newsreader. It's Sissons, but he comes to your door in a beanie. You're not going to go, Sissons, what are you doing in a beanie at my door? You're just going to go, sir, how can I help you? Hello, could I have 50p? And then you just give him it and get him
Well, no,
going.
but the voice might alert you to Sissons.
This is me, Peter Sissons, at your door in a beanie, asking for 50p. What's going on, Peter?
How does this item work? People just imagine something unlikely and then say, no.
Whoa, baby, don't pull the rug from under the item when it's just a newborn fledgling. Don't pull the rug from under it. Get into the item. And
Okay.
here, quick
Give me
fire round.
He's got a list of
Boris-
bloody names. he's worked on this.
Boris Johnson.
Yes, I'd recognise him.
Crash hat and
Yes, because
sunglasses.
he wears a crash hat when he rides his bike.
Lipstick on. Ding dong, who's that knocking on your door? Boris Johnson, but he's got lipstick on, so you recognise him, do you?
Yes.
All right, what about Christian O'Connell, the radio host?
Well, yeah.
Boiler
maybe
suit.
No, I wouldn't.
Exactly.
But I would think you look like Christian O'Connell.
What about, not Ed Miliband, because he's got that mad, sort of crazy paving face, but what about,
Has he?
well, it's all the nose.
Oh,
I
bless
love him, I'm not having a go.
Crazy paving.
It's like crazy paving face.
No, it's not.
It's been smashed and put back together again. Oh, but all right, David Miliband though. You wouldn't recognise
wouldn't
David
recognise him, no.
Miliband. Ed Balls. You wouldn't recognise Ed
No, I
Balls.
wouldn't.
William Hague. You'd recognise, right?
Yes. And actually, I've seen him wearing a beanie. Sometimes he goes out a bit incognito.
Yeah. Where's
Don't
that?
know why.
He wears that. Or when he wears a baseball cap, looks like he's on his
That's
way to
it,
Euro
yeah.
Disney.
Yeah, it does, doesn't he? Looks like he's won a competition. for
Final
something.
trip. What about Adam Woodyard, aka Ian Beale?
What on the earth is this A, this list, and B, this item? You went to the toilet and came back with these names written on a piece of paper. I don't think you'd even thought of the item.
This has been. You don't think shit like this conjures itself up?
Would you, Ian Beale?
I held. What I got is I got me,
People in
Conan
America listen to
O'Brien,
this.
Chris Evans, some of the great ginger TV minds sat around and come up with an item.
Yeah. Adam, no, I
Would you?
wouldn't.
You wouldn't recognise him even if he straight came to your door in costume as Ian
He
Beale.
looks exhausted these days.
He's knackered, isn't he?
Yeah.
Poor sod. Poor
Imagine
sod.
being in EastEnders that, I mean, you know, like
30 years.
Yeah, 30 years
I'd rather
in a
do time.
soap opera where the story never ends. They never
Can't
have a
end,
final
there's no
one.
escape.
They just go, oh, we're all right now. Everyone's happy.
It's Kafkaesque. It's Kafkaesque. It's
It's
never going to
horrific.
end. There
You've
is
got to
no
learn
escape.
all those lines
Every week, lines.
and doesn't lead anywhere.
What's the point?
I feel sorry for Adam Woodyatt.
One thing, people die in there and then they come back. How many times have people died in EastEnders and come back? Dirty Den died, come back.
He
Nick
didn't- well, he
Beale,
didn't die,
Nick
did
Cotton
he?
died, come back.
They
Yeah.
disappeared, didn't they?
Well, then Leslie Grantham had to wank himself off the airwaves. It was the only way he could escape from the square. Was he wanked himself to freedom?
He did do an internet wank, didn't he?
Yeah, it was the only way. There's only one way out of Albert Square, Mr. Grantham. One way. You wank your way out. Graham Lasso, Chelsea and England left back. Ding dong. Would you recognise him?
No, because I don't know about football.
Chris Akabusi,
Is this gonna
hurdler.
go? This is not fun to listen to for anyone.
What? This is what I don't like
Chris
about
Akabusi
you.
wasn't a hurdler. I thought he was a sprinter.
Hurdler, wasn't he? Akabusi.
I don't know.
Akabusi.
This is
Chris
brilliant.
Akabusi.
This is-
Would you recognise
This
him
is
at your door?
podcast gold. Yes, I would, because he's got a little funny little coconut-shaped head. He's got a point on his head.
You'd recognise that. But what
Put a
if he's
beanie on it.
or a postman's hat and a postman's uniform, and he's got a pen in his mouth, and he's going, "No, would you sign here, Mr. Morgan?"
Well, no, of course I wouldn't. This item doesn't work.
It works.
It's
I
like
tell
going-
you what, mate.
It's
gonna.
about context.
I tell you what. Yes, it's about context, and the context is there's a bloody good item in a podcast because next week,
know where this
when
leads.
your telephone neighbours is died of death, people
already
will be
died of
saying,
death.
"Ding dong,
No one
knocking on your."
supported it.
Of course they didn't, because it was plagiarised off Tintin. Her J's inventors of telephone.
Right, listen. This
One
leads to
final
you
one.
dressing up as a gas man and going knocking on people's doors.
Linda Robson. That's my final one,
Oh my
and then
God,
I'll
your
drop the item.
references are all from the 80s. Linda Robson and Ian Beale. And Chris Akabusi.
So what? I didn't want him to. Who am I supposed to do? Cristiano Ronaldo?
Paloma
I'd
Faith,
recognise
you just
him.
mentioned Tiny Temper. What about all your famous friends?
I didn't recognise Tiny Temper when I first saw him in the park.
Really?
That's right. I was there
You
in.
sure you met Tiny Temper?
Well, he had to tell me, and we'd met. He was fat. No, I met Tiny Temper. I'd worked with him before. Plus, he's Tiny Temper, and I still didn't recognise him.
You're really good with faces, I thought.
Am I?
Well, you're good with...
What is it I'm good at again?
Names.
Stealing girlfriends from my mates.
That's
It seems like the main thing I'm good
No,
at.
you're good with names because you do that thing in your head, don't you?
Mnemonics. I've memorised you now. You're in the file.
How'd you do that again? Would you say their name 3 times?
Envisage the...
Hello, Tiny Temper. How's
Tiny
Tiny Temper
Temper.
today?
I had a tiny temper myself when I thought you were Chris Akabusi. That's actually not do that, but G started it, and
G did
actually
it.
G is from the racial minority where that might be acceptable to have done that joke. So hopefully we'll get over it. I was with some kids anyway, my, Minnie and Elsie, Nicola's niece and daughter, and 2 people, and we had face paints. I bought them earlier in the day, and they've painted a St George's flag on Tiny Temper. I said, "Careful, mate, that looked like a hate crime." And that's the end of me meeting Tiny Temper in a park.
Did you have face paints? No, because
why?
it's too much like the rubber mask. Just a tiny little butterfly on my nose.
Listen, you don't gild the lily,
can't
girls.
cover this.
This thing, that's the money. That
You don't buy
toy.
a Porsche and then cover it in paint.
You don't do it, and if you did, you'd be out. Okay, so all right, so there's 2 new items there, ladies and gentlemen.
That
and
is
we would
not a
like-
new item. If my
Ding.
telephone neighbours doesn't work, which is groundbreaking, right? You
It
just
might have been
listing people from the
groundbreaking in
80s.
Brussels, but
You
it
go,
ain't.
Des Lynham. Des Lynham in a trilby. Des Lynham. And he asked you to sign for a package. Would you know him? Sorry. No, I'll go to a different bus stop. Hello, I'm famous. Do you want to play my game? It's dull.
I love it. It's a good game. Yes, I'd recognise Lynham. Unless the Trilby would
What
phone me.
about... Yeah, it's bonkers.
You don't like the game?
But it does lead to a better game where you
No.
dress up as things and knock
Ding
on
dong.
people's doors and record it and go,
And-
hello, can you sign for this? Do you know who I am? Do you think I look like anyone? Do that. Why don't you do that?
It's
for
very labour intensive. I've got to go out and about, dressing up. All with my one. All I've got to do is say a bunch of stuff down a radio microphone, collect my check. Job's a good un.
No, I'd like to see
you in like a rubber mask. We should go out, me and you wearing a rubber mask, create a character.
What's his name? Pete Schnaps.
Pete Schnaps.
Why can't it be Pete Schnaps? I'm the man in the mask. I'm Pete Schnaps.
George Atazda.
I'm George Atazda. I've got needs. You've got
You
needs.
don't even know what that is, do you?
It's a type of clothes what you can get
That's no.
if you've.
He still knows the price of a pint of milk, doesn't he?
I am very much a man of the old people.
Right, me and George Atazda are going to go out.
All right. When are we
with a
doing
rubber
this?
face. Yeah, we do it whenever. I don't know.
Yeah.
In the week.
Whenever I drop
we
a
have to
banana
send
on the
off for
desk, we get a
face.
weird ricochet noise. This is the sound of everything being connected by vibration, aka me dropping a banana. Beautiful, no?
Yeah, it is actually.
Compelling.
So that's your second item.
Dropping a banana.
Dropping the banana thing.
No, look, that's never going to be up there with Ding Dong, Who's That Knocking on Your Door, where people can send in, who do you reckon, like, how famous can these people get before you'd actually... I reckon Ryan Gosling could knock at my door. I wouldn't know
But are
it.
you saying, because it's out of context, you just go, your brain
That's
will
it.
go, that's Ryan Gosling, but it can't be, so I won't
I'm
call
just
him Ryan.
saying that, like, well, I suppose the item was bought. I mean, I suppose if you're asking how did I come up with this item, what it was is my friend said that Orlando Bloom was at her door, and I goes, and she would. Well, actually, it came from me being angry that Orlando Bloom was at her door. Firstly, because I thought, what's he doing there? And secondly, she was impressed. So anger is at the root of the item. Like any great item, it's jealousy. It's anger and jealousy. But so I said initially, quite perniciously, I wouldn't recognise Orlando Bloom if he came to my door. Right?
Right.
And then I thought about it a bit longer, and I thought, it's probably people could get quite famous before you'd start recognising them if they were at your door, just because you wouldn't expect people to be at your door. So, like, that's where I come up with that new item, basically, pal.
Come on, you know, like, in the years that we've been off the radio, you must have dealt with you must have some good stories about
Nope.
famous people.
Come on. Tom Cruise.
I have got a good Tom Cruise one, actually. I was in the car with Tom Cruise. That's it. no, I've got a good one about Tom Cruise. I've done a film with Tom Cruise. He's ever so nice.
You got in the same car as him.
Yeah, because we became pals. I went round his Tom Cruise house. I was there with his Tom Cruise kids. And, like, the little one, little Cruise, the little girl,
Yeah.
she was running around, and I was like, you know, like, I'm good with kids, you know that.
Surrey, something.
Yeah, I had to apologise. No, it's like she was running around on the sofa, and I started to commentate on her running around the sofa. I was going, oh, and that's a magnificent... She was jumping over the back of the sofa. Oh, and that's just incredible, and the crowd goes wild. She started to get into it, and then I had to keep that going for a bit too long, and it was knackering.
Yeah.
Then me and Tom Cruise went off, I think, to see a gig, because I was married then. I don't know if I've mentioned it, too.
Yeah.
Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we went to see that, and I was in the back of a car with Tom Cruise and his wife, Katie Holmes, and I was like, we were talking about comedy in the back of the car with Tom Cruise, and he goes like, we were talking about this film we were doing together called Rock of Ages, and Tom Cruise goes, He goes, when I was doing Jerry Maguire, you know, the thing about the guy was, you know, like he was constantly dogged by frustration. Help me, help you! Like that. And he did the thing. And I thought, oh, wow, I'm in the back of a car and Tom Cruise is doing that thing. And I'd like looked around to everyone else to see if they was impressed, but they was all just looking at their phones because they were Tom Cruise's wife or kid or whatever. He bought me a yoga mat.
He's an amazing actor because he's done so much stuff.
He's brilliant, isn't he, Tom Cruise? And he's so kind. Like, he's really, like, it's my birthday while we're making that film, and, like, on
He's
my
so
birthday...
kind. He signed me up to his religion. And all I have to do
All
is live in a
God
hut.
knows, it's believed that space is made out of, I think it's numbers.
all that. They didn't want me in their religion.
That is damning. They normally...
Because they're expansionists.
I know someone very well. I don't know him, but I spoke to after the Q Awards, right, where I was with Noel.
Yeah.
Spoke to one of the most famous musicians on the planet.
Chris Martin.
No. Yeah.
Right.
I can't tell this now that we said it.
All right, but perhaps it wasn't.
All right, it wasn't.
Brilliant. Carry on.
And he told me that he was invited to a Scientology thing, right? And he said on the way there, the cab driver went, where are you going then? He went, I'm just going to this thing. He went, oh, right, well, do you know anything about these people? They're weird, aren't they? And sort of fished him for, like sort of information. Was saying to him, oh, God, you don't want to go in there. I've heard some bad things about you. Heard anything bad about them? And, like, did all this stuff, right, when... quite quickly thought, hello, I'm being recorded. This is, this is part of it. And so he said he had a nice day there, and then at the end of it, just went, no thanks, bye.
Once I was hosting SNL as the host, starring Russell. And while I was there, what happened is I was making some...
See, this is what we should be talking about. You're in a car with Tom Cruise, you hosted SNL,
Yeah.
and you're talking about Ian Beale at a door. What the hell have we been wasting our time?
All right, well, you didn't quiz me, did ya? Why don't you prepare?
I'm doing this as a... From now on, this podcast has been an interview.
No way, baby.
A grilling. That's
Listen,
interesting.
as long as you're making Lego tables, this is a two-way street we're on.
Come on.
On SNL, one of the... everyone was started talking about Scientology and that. And the floor... and people were sort of being, making jokes about it. And then the floor manager lady went... sorry, are you a Scientologist? To one of the principal cast members of SNL. And she went, no. And someone would go, well, maybe don't talk about things if you don't know much about it. Because I happen to be a Scientologist and some people take it quite seriously. And it was and it was weird because it was a floor manager having a go at talent, which is that's the wrong way of hierarchies in telly.
Well, you don't know what hierarchy she's on, what level she's...
She could be clear.
She could be.
In Scientology is as good as it gets, baby.
What, so they didn't want you? What, did you ask to join? Or?
What I've done was I just would mooch around looking a bit down in the dumps by Tom Cruise's trailer, and sometimes like when we were doing a scene, I'd go, Tom,
Only there was a system
for all these feelings and thoughts I have, and sometimes I wonder, what's the point, Tom? Is there a God? Isn't there? Is there some way of analysing this data?
Probably not. Bye.
Tom, come back, Tom! Where are you going? I do massage! He was not interested. He couldn't give a monkey's about trying to sign me up.
Because
I was gutted.
That's part of their like.
They thought I was a troublemaker.
The beginning,
probably.
they wanted to try and get there was a list drawn up by L. Ron Hubbard of people they wanted to get because they thought if you can get a celebrity or someone famous, you'll get thousands of people.
Pissed off about that. Why don't we start our own religion?
Yeah, all right.
I'm Jesus. Back to Jesus! Back to Jesus!
So what happened with Tom Cruise at the end of the Tom Cruise thing? That's pretty cool.
There was another time with me and old Cruiser, as I call him, where there was a monkey in the film, a baboon. I didn't like it. You know me, I love an animal, but when it comes to the crunch, I hate them. There was a baboon on the set. Here's some facts. The baboon had its own girlfriends, bought in for it to have it off with. It had a nappy.
What baboons?
What
you said? I didn't know.
Well,
it's Hollywood, baby.
I thought you would assume that it's not going to have sex outside its species.
Well,
they're not going to go as
adult
baboon.
Man would go.
Here's Latoya Jackson.
Brought in.
What did I say? That's wrong.
Simpleton would go. He had his own girlfriends brought in.
That's what it was to the baboon. His own girlfriends.
Yeah, and as soon as you saw that he fancied one of them, I bet you fucked a baboon.
You're right, Chico. She's absolutely gorgeous. Chico,
Tom, don't look at me. Let me in your religion. It meant nothing.
I need a way out of this, Tom.
It's a boy orangutan. I got the wrong one.
It's stinging. I'm never getting that banana back. Well, he had 2 or 3 birds, the baboon, in its trailer.
Well, that's even worse. Now I don't know if they're birds or monkeys.
Monkeys, baboon birds.
Right.
It had a nappy gaffer taped to it. Where's the dignity in that?
Yeah, no dignity.
I had to do a scene with it, and Tom Cruise had it as his pet in the film, right?
Yeah.
It was his idea. Because say Tom Cruise, goes, hey, do you know what would be good? Let's have a baboon in the movie.
I watched that film, and you should have been playing his part.
Brilliant. I should have, shouldn't I?
It was like Jim
I said
Morrison.
that to Tom.
It was like you can play a rock star like the best of them, can't you?
I said, Tom, if you need a rock star playing, come old Russ. Get out of the way. But Tom insisted.
I need a comedy partner in this movie. And you were going, Tom.
Nope, a baboon.
The baboon. He was talking about you, but someone got their wires crossed.
He calls me that. It's affectionate. And he goes, I want a baboon, right? The baboon weren't in the script in the first place.
I like the word baboon and the way we have to keep saying it.
It's in the story a lot, baboon, isn't it?
Sounds like an idiot trying to say balloon.
You both spelled baboon. Here, you ruined my birthday by bursting my baboon. Merry Christmas for next year. So, yeah. So he goes, it would be good if there was a baboon in this movie, wouldn't it? And I said, we've already got Russel Brand. He goes, all right, 2 baboons. So then they got the baboon. Then the baboon was in scenes that Tom Cruise weren't even in. He was off at home or something. And I had to be in a scene with a baboon. Vicious-looking thing, it was.
Yeah.
I was looking at it. There were scenes in that film, Rock of Ages. Now, as you know, my performance in that, particularly its Birmingham accent, has gone down in folklore as one of the great bits of character acting in history. However...
The American parts of my family like that film.
Do they?
Yeah.
See? acting by me. Now, what I will let you in on a little secret, there's scenes, when I watched it back, I remember watching those scenes, there was bits where I weren't even thinking that I was in a film while they were filming it. Like, so someone would go, action, and then something would happen, then they'd go, cut, and I was thinking, wow, I weren't even thinking about films then, I was just standing there, nothing was happening in my brain or anything.
I wonder why you're not in films now, then.
Isn't it strange? Because
What do you mean? Yeah, but they do it so many times, you probably just...
I was just thinking about other stuff.
You live in the moment. I think like that's hard for you to be in a film because like filming
boring.
anything, even the things I've done, which are smaller, obviously, scale than a Hollywood movie, the amount of takes and retakes and different angles and stuff. It's
One time that little baboon jumped down. He was scuttled across the floor. He looked like he was going to go for someone. And I thought, if you had to have a fight with it, I bet it's quite hard. A baboon and vicious little
you should
vicious
like
fangs.
Hollywood film diaries.
That baboon was a prick. And then Tom Cruise, I went round his house again.
Yeah.
Are you getting bored?
No,
you
I'm not.
started
I'm just
this.
trying to pick a thread through this, right?
Right.
The baboon thing.
Yeah.
Your sort of attitude to the baboon's funny.
Well, because he was undermined. I just don't think he should have been there.
Well, don't they shoot the baboon? Like, isn't the baboon in for a minute and then they get rid of him and then you just have an eye line?
He was there too much.
Was
he
he?
was there. They could have reduced his hours radically and just left me with Alec Baldwin. I
What's
was
the
happy.
sort of ratio of a day of like actually filming? And
Fuck all.
Really?
Most of the time
Yeah.
you stood around worrying about a baboon, and then there's a bit where you're pretending to be boyfriends with Alec Baldwin, which was my favourite bit.
Yeah.
Because I love Alec Baldwin.
He's nice. He's quite like sort of liberal and forward
He's
thinking.
cool. He's funny. He tells really good, he tells good stories and that. And he's sort of wistful. And
Is he?
yeah. I
What's
hung
the
around him a
vibe
lot.
when you're in the film like that? Do you ever like go over his trailer? Hey, come over.
Yeah.
What's it like work like?
There's a really funny bit where like my mum was there. We was filming it in Miami, and my mum come see me. And like Baldwin, he's wearing these jeans and big boots, and he's all intense, and like he didn't really want to be in the film, I don't think. And he had a wig on and that, and he's like, "Oh, hello, Russell." And like there's a bit where like we talked to him about films and stuff, and he just marched in the trailer. I was sat with my mum, and he bought earlier on. He talked about the Kubrick film. Barry Lyndon and how beautiful the duel scene in Barry Lyndon was. You must watch this scene; it's fantastic. And then he came over at the trailer. I was in with my mum, and then there was a knock on the door. Well, no, hold on, it's more like this.
He's really bringing this to life.
Right, that's...
Yeah.
Hold on, who the hell's that? It's Baldwin. He comes in and goes, "Russell, look at this scene." And he placed the laptop down and put on the scene from Barry Lyndon, right? And then he just fucked off and left me with my mum. It's 7 minutes long, that scene. I had to just... Me and my mum sat
Where
on
was
our
he?
own.
Outside
He'd gone.
smoking.
He'd just gone off. I don't even know.
be over in a minute. It's 2 minds blown.
And me and my mum, there's a bit like about halfway through, and my mum goes, "Oh, do we have to keep watching it?" Shut up, mother! This is Baldwin. Yeah, so we were trapped in a trailer.
Did he
just
then?
like-
Did you get a laptop then?
I
Did he
kept
come
that
back for
laptop.
it?
No, I could do it. Oh, thanks for that. I learned a lot. Thanks, Mr. Baldwin.
Aw.
Just be polite, like he's a teacher.
So what? So there is a sort of camaraderie.
I've become friends with him. I've seen Baldwin a couple of times. He's one of the few people I've maintained a friendship with post films because there's a carnival atmosphere on a film set, isn't it? Like people become friendly, but it's not. It's not like a proper friendship where you can bother people in the dead of night for years later.
Yeah. So what with Tom Cruise? That's all sort of dried up.
It's all dried up now. I mean, it hurt for a while. Do a jingle.
Oh shit! All right.
No, that's one of the things I said to Tom.
listening to the Russell Brand podcast with Russell, Matt, and Keith.
Who did?
That's from CAF 510.
Excellent jingle there. Some children were involved in that, and it's created a fantastic
Hang on,
atmosphere.
one of these. I like one of these.
Russ, Matt, G Audio Boom.
Excellent. That's good. Now, why don't we use some of these again and again to provide a consistent brand identity for the show?
Well, yeah, but then people stop sending them in, won't they?
All right. Keep sending them in, though, to us. Oh.
Rustling man.
There, that's how I sing. That's my voice. This is good. Hang about. This girl's got rhythm.
Politics and belly bouncing antics.
Four.
I like that.
I
It's
love
a bit
her.
like
Who
sort
is
of
it?
Cat Power. Well, it's not Cat Power. It's,
is that?
What was that? Number
think she could
5?
love me?
Hail Mary, that's come from.
Hail.
The mother of Jesus.
Bring her in. Bring her in like we did in the old days. Competition winners in the BBC. Don't mind if I bloody well did.
All the winners were female.
Interesting that the competition winners are always female. And to get your prize, come this way to the disabled toilet.
Oh, dear.
Oh, that's not good on a licence payer's
They
Tommy?
were all of a certain age. Because you can't tell from the name, could you? Well, you couldn't. And then sometimes 60-year-old women would turn up.
right.
He was a plucky fellow.
Well, we started too often. Come here, Docs. I bet you learn some moves in your time. Come on, get in that bog.
Well, it's quite handy, the bar in here. Lean on that.
There you go. Loosen your grip. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Taps.
It's a prize. Here comes an email by... No, this is a story out of a news. Redditch head teacher barred over cubicle voyeurism. A former head teacher who admitted watching a woman changing in a leisure centre cubicle has been barred from teaching indefinitely. But what they're basically saying is they can't see a time when he'll come back to teaching. A professional conduct panel has recommended an indefinite prohibition order against David Doubtfire of
I suppose
Bidford.
that's a real name.
How can you be called David
Like Mrs.
Doubtfire?
Doubtfire.
I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it? Doubtfire.
It's an amazing thing because fire is so full of itself and doubt isn't.
It's an oxymoron in one name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, is that? Hi, here come fire! Oh no, I don't think we should do
Doubt
that.
fire.
Ooh. Yeah, it's a sort of peculiar conundrum in a single word. David Doubtfire of Bidford-on-Avon, Warwickshire, has been convicted of voyeurism and put on the sex offenders register in June. Horrible to be on that register, I would have thought. Terrible for your morale.
Well, you can get on there. I'm surprised that voyeurism gets you on there, but I suppose it's wrong.
Seems like there should be some subcategories on the register. Is it
Yeah.
like you're on the register and everyone's mingled in? Pedos, more aggressive, violent
Well, I
sex
don't know if
crimes.
it's rated or graded. I don't know.
It's just the register.
It should be, but then I suppose if you're on it, then you'd have to declare that to a employer, right?
Yeah.
You'd want to go, but it was only for peeping under a cubicle.
Oh, I feel for this guy.
I don't.
The panel said the offence was sexual misconduct, which was incompatible with being a teacher. Not at some schools. This was
Seems
spot
to
on.
get you the job when I was a kid.
Doubtfire fell over. Check this. Doubtfire fell over in a changing room cubicle at Evesham Leisure Centre in July and made no attempt to get up. The panel said, like the opposite of Chumbawamba. I
Yeah.
get knocked down, then I just stay there peeping under the door for
Maybe
a
his
few hours.
spirit was so broken by the fall, he just thought, you know what? Oh, hello, love.
Well, that's it for you, Doubtfire. Oh, there's a nice pair of chaps. You got a ladder in them, darling. It said, the panel, that his head landed slightly undering the neighbouring changing cubicle and he looked at a woman who was getting changed until she noticed him. That would be odd if you were a woman and you're changing in a cubicle and then you look down and there's a head at floor level.
Well, it sounds like she
On
didn't
its
notice
side,
him
presumably.
at first. So he laid there until she noticed him. That sounds like he sort of went, oh, I better wait and say hello. And clearly didn't, like, who falls over in a cubicle?
There's not much room to fall over, Matt, is there?
You'd have to engineer that unless you're in a family
How
changing
can you
one. And why
topple?
was
You'd
it?
hit the side.
Yeah.
You'd hit the side on the way
She
down.
would have heard a big and then a head would have appeared and gone, oh, sorry, I fell over.
It'd sound like the end of EastEnders. On
Yeah,
the way
exactly,
down.
exactly.
And then there's a head on the floor, a melon head, peeping
You
sideways
should have
under a
used a
cubicle.
mirror.
Right.
I do.
Use a periscope of some description.
Or a mirror.
It would probably break the voyeuristic thrill to be looking down a periscope. I don't think I could enjoy voyeurism as much while looking down a tube.
Yeah, no.
But you think a mirror would work?
Well, I guess he's...
I don't like things reflected and refracted.
No.
I like genuine reality, not some version of it. So if I was voyeuring under a...
Just stick your head under there.
I mean, voyeurism, it's a real thrill, isn't it? I mean, if you accidentally get a bit, see someone in a
Yeah, if you
window
see
or
it-
whatever.
Yeah, when sometimes
That's
on a
allowed, isn't
train
it?
you can see in people's
Bras.
bathrooms, I was going to say, as the train goes past their house.
Yeah, bathroom, bathroom, bra.
Yeah. But this that's clearly just a childish lie. As a headmaster, he must have heard a lot of those
Childish
sort of
lie.
lies.
You expect me
I
to
fell
believe that?
over and then my head went under and I was just about to get up and then she noticed me.
It's just like a lie.
And then some sticky stuff coming. I wrote a letter to God down the front of my pants in white ink.
Okay, boy.
I felt really confused and then yoghurt came out my willy.
What better way to end a professional broadcaster by two men of some decade and a half experience working together than the sentence, yoghurt came out of my willy. Now, to summarise what we're going to laughingly call a podcast, it's Mr. G, poet laureate of the show. The best contributor should get the thing. I
Tom
think
Cruise.
Tom, this is wigging its way. No, why don't we give it to the guy that tracked down Serafina?
Oh, yeah.
So that will you send the poem to the person, Dan?
Can we
Brilliant.
get her or her dad in here?
Can we get? Can you also get in touch with them, Dan? That's going to require some sleuthing.
Maybe the
get,
dad,
get
because-
David Doubtfire. He's a committed man. When he wants to see something, get the
Wonder what
dad.
he's
'cause
doing
he's
for a
bit of
job
character.
now.
Let's find this man. Let's find him. Let's track him down. And let's say we want advice from him. And there's never been any problems between us and using elderly people on the airwaves. It's always been problem free. Mr. G, why don't you summarise this as best you can?
Okay, best I can. This poem's called Falling Down. Build me a table, construct me a fable, to burst our inner baboon if it's willing and able. Project the whiniest voice, sell the tiniest toys, but don't play that little game that would ever deny you your choice. But some guess the line of separation between coherence and foundation, where our inner belief emanates from, may not need qualification. So let fate describe your way, and your mates define your fame. As long as you're celebrated by those who you love, there'll be no need for the rubber face.
There you go. It's been summarised. That poem is coming to you. That's Mr. Tom Cruise, Hollywood, Los Angeles. No,
Will
that
you
bloke.
do the rubber face thing?
If you get it,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah. That'd be nice. Me and you go out for a
I
day.
know I'm not famous no
Go
more.
to a fair or something, get pictures. Here's us on the Dodgems.
Will
What was
we
his
record?
name? Georgia Tasda.
I liked my name. What was my name?
Snaps.
Russell Brand.
Pete Schnaps.
Pete Schnaps. Okay.
I want to be Pete Schnaps, or I can be Georgia
I
Taster.
apologise to the listeners for him eating a banana.
It's actually Matthew's winking well. I fell down. I got a big gob full of gubbins.